There. Happy Halloween. What's your favorite candy to eat at Halloween time? I really like these M&Ms, and I like that they come in a bunch of different colors. Today, why don't we take your candy haul from Halloween and learn how to do some graphing with that candy. We're going to need your candy haul and some paper and a marker, and that's about it. I've got my candy right here, and we're going to talk about bar graphs and how we can use a bar graph to figure out trends and what the people in your neighborhood were giving out this Halloween. So don't eat too much of it. Bring it back here. Let's talk about bar graphs and make a really cool Halloween candy bar graph. Have you ever seen a bar graph? So you may have seen something that looks like this or like this that shows different categories of things and the amount of them. So a bar graph might show how many days in a year it was a certain range of temperatures, so that you can see whether it was colder or hotter this year. You might take a survey at your school of what kinds of pets everybody has, and then make a bar graph to see what pet is the most common, what pet's the least common. Bar graphs really help us see with a picture data. Data is just a fancy word for information that we've gathered that we can put into numbers. So today we're going to be taking some data about what people were giving out in Halloween candy hauls for your neighborhood or wherever you went trick-or-treating. So you're going to grab your candy bag and we're going to dump it out, because the first thing we need to do is sort it. So you're going to sort each candy category. So for me, I'm going to put Snickers in one pile. I'm going to put Skittles in another pile. I'm going to put M&Ms in another pile. I think those are the, those are the only, I also have Starbursts. Another pile for Starbursts. You may have a lot of different kinds of candy, but go ahead and put them in different piles, and we're going to then use them to make a bar graph out of candy. I cannot wait. Don't eat too much of it.
Okay, now is one of the most fun parts of our activity where we sort our Halloween candy. You may sort just all your candy, like me, into the different candies, or you might decide that you want to sort yours in a different way, maybe by category, like chocolate and suckers and sour candies, or you might just pull out your favorite candies and sort them into at least 4 groups. So we want to just have at least 4 groups of candy to make our bar graph.
Now that we've sorted our candy, we are going to make a bar graph of candy. And so instead of coloring in a bar graph on a piece of paper, we are going to instead make a bar graph just using physical candy. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a blank sheet of paper, and we're going to label it with the different candies that you sorted. If you had too many candies, maybe just take the ones that you have the most of, like 4 or 5 candies that you have the most of. We're going to write down what each candy is on our piece of paper, and then we are going to make our bar graph. This is what it's going to look like.
Okay, so I have my piece of paper that says my 4 different candies on it, and I'm just going to start lining up my candies on each word. So Skittles are going to go above the Skittles, and M&Ms above the M&Ms, etc. And I'm going to start to see how I have more candies than other candies. And it's a little bit trickier with these candies because some of them are in bigger packages than others, but we are just making a very imprecise bar graph. So line up all your candies on each of those categories, and then we're going to make some observations about them. A quick alternative to this activity, if you do not have a big candy haul or you just want to do something different, you could take a bag of Skittles or M&Ms or other candy that has different colors in it and line those up on your paper to show how many you have of each color. And this is actually going to let you compare a little bit better because all of the candies are roughly the same size.
Good job making your bar graph. I want you to think about, what candies did you have the most of? What candy was the most popular in your neighborhood? What candy do you have the least of? How much candy did you have all together? And how much difference is there between the candy you had the most of and the candy you had the least of? What other things do you notice about your bar graph? If you want to do a little bit more with your bar graph, we are going to now make it into a picture. So what you're going to need for this is a piece of grid paper. Your parent can print it out online, or you could make some yourself if you want to use a ruler and make a grid. We're going to use this paper to draw out a picture of what we made with our candy.
All right, let's make our bar graph. The first thing that we're going to need to do on our graph paper is draw our axes. So there's going to be one that goes up and down and one that goes across, and it's going to look like a big L. And on the bottom, that's where we're going to put the information about what we measured. We're going to write the names of each candy. I used abbreviations here just because I didn't have a whole lot of room, and I made sure I spaced everything out evenly so that our graph looks nice and even when we make it. Now I'm going to start coloring my graph. I picked a color for each candy, and I am going to show how many of each candy I had. So for the Skittles, I had 7 bags of Skittles. And I didn't do a good job labeling my up and down axis, some people would call it the y-axis, with the numbers that I'm using, but I'm counting up 1 square for each candy that I had. So I count up 7 squares here, and then I draw a rectangle that's going to be the same size for each candy, and then I color it in to show that I have 7 of those candies. Then I continue on with each of my candies. So for M&Ms, I counted up how many M&Ms I had and colored in that many squares and made the rectangle just the same size as I did for the first one, and on until I am through with all of my candy categories. Our final step is going to be to label our graph so that people know exactly what we were measuring. I could get more descriptive and say Candy Haul 2025, but I'm just going to say candy.
Your bar graphs look awesome. Now, go out into your family and share what you found. Share the insights that you have about what candy was given out the most, what candy was given out the least, and the differences between those two and everything in between. If you want more of these activities, I would love for you to check them out on my channel. Press that subscribe button and the alert button so that you never miss a STEAM activity, and we will continue with our work next